This is my presentation on classical conditioning. Have you ever walked towards a movie theater thinking of popcorn and salivating? Heard the crescendo of music in a scary movie and covered your eyes? Sat down in a chair to get a shot at the doctor's office and felt your heart race? Heard a siren and took your foot off the gas to slow down? Guess what? You've been conditioned. A brief history of classical conditioning. Pavlov had some dogs. Russian physician Ivan Pavlov was credited for discovering classical conditioning by accident. Everyone's heard the story of how Pavlov experimented on some dogs to find out why they were behaving the way they were. He was doing research on the effect of salivation on digestion and used dogs for experimentation. He noticed that involuntary response, like salivation, started happening as a result of unrelated stimuli. This led to a change in direction for Pavlov. He devoted the rest of his career to this field. The summary of his research, he started by giving his dogs food, and he noticed that the dogs salivated when the food was given. He then rang a bell right before the food was given. After a period of time, the ringing of the bell would produce a salivation response even without the food. Some definitions for classical conditioning. Unconditioned stimulus is when something that produces a response without having to be learned, like dog food. An unconditioned response is something that happens naturally, like a dog salivating around the food. A conditioned stimulus is something that produces a response after it is associated with an unconditioned stimulus, like the bell in the experiment. And the conditioned response is something that happens as a result of a new stimulus without the previous unconditioned stimulus salivating when the bell is heard. This is my dog Lily. Lily is a 1-year-old Boston Terrier, and we've used classical conditioning to teach her a couple of behaviors like sitting for treats and things like that. She now associates words with actions quite well. She associates the word treat with food and heads to the treat jar, and she automatically sits when a treat is shown because she knows it will result in her receiving that treat. She also knows the sentence, "Do you want to go for a ride?" means that she can go to my car and we drive somewhere. She knows many other words in the same way and responds differently for each. Video evidence. In this video that I'm about to show you, you will see that we have introduced first the unconditioned response of desiring a treat when shown. Over time, my dog Lily learned to associate the word treat with excitement and anticipation of the actual treat without seeing it. She has also been conditioned to sit in order to receive the treat. The unconditioned stimuli for this experiment is the treat. Unconditioned response is desiring to eat that treat. The conditioned stimuli is the word treat, and the conditioned response is excitement, anticipation, and sitting for a treat when only the word is said. Here's the video for you.
No treat. No treat. No treat. No treat.
As you can see, she sat for a treat after I had asked her if she wanted one. In the next video, Lily learned through classical conditioning to associate the question, "Do you want to go for a ride?" with going off in my car, something she loves to do. After asking the question and following through with the action, Lily has learned to speak when asked the question and runs to my car when the question is posed. The unconditioned stimuli for this video is riding in the car. The unconditioned response is excitement. The conditioned stimuli is asking the question, and the conditioned response is excitement, speaking, and running to the car.
Hey Lily, you wanna go for a ride? You wanna go for a ride? You wanna go for a ride, Lily? Lily, you wanna go for a ride? You wanna go for a ride? You wanna go for a ride? Let's go for a ride. Come on.
I think you get the point. She really, really loves going for rides. Summing all this classical conditioning stuff, we've all been conditioned to various stimuli. When we hear a bell at school, we start packing up our things and prepare to leave. When we hear an alarm, we feel our heart race and head for an exit. and when we hear a car horn, we look around defensively. Classical conditioning is a complicated term that simply means replacing one stimulus with another to produce a desired result. In my psychology class here at Central, it helped me to relate to conditioning to behaviors produced through training my dog. Hopefully this brief overview helps you understand. Next time you hear someone speak of Pavlov's dogs, I hope you know a little more about the subject.